So we're finishing up what the 7-year tribulation is. I have my little pointer here. So we have a 7-year tribulation, which is Daniel's 70th week for Israel. And we've got the 7 seals, God allowing the devil to deceive and fallen angels to do things. So we've got the 5 or 6 seals. This right here, this line is like the start of the tribulation. This is the end, right here, the end, the 7 years. So I made this myself. Just a quick note before I go on. I do think that the 5 or 6 seals could happen after the tribulation because of Revelation 5 and the elders, and it sounds like actual humans who are the bride of Christ are praising God and saying, we were saved by the blood of the Lamb. And so it seems that they could definitely be raptured before the 5 or 6 seals. Now, when I made this video, I was questioning if the 5 or 6 seals are kind of like God allowing Satan to do things building up to the tribulation. So there's kind of 2 ideas with the seals. I made this myself. I was looking online for a chart and nothing was good, so I just made one. So here it says 4 riders bring Satan's and the beast's plagues and destruction and setting up the beast system, setting up false Christians to basically praise the Antichrist when we're gone, and he shows up and he's like, a Christ. He's going to appear to be a good Christ. He's going to appear to be the Messiah to them. And there are going to be false prophets and false Christians that will go for that. Then we've got, let me zoom out. Oh, maybe it's cut. Gospel will be preached in the whole world right here. This is right before this happens. Then we've got the rapture of the bride, that what Ken Johnson was talking about will catch us up. And Alan Didio was talking about this, that when the good are taken away, then the evil will be allowed to just flood in. It's like we're like the lid that is covering up a boiling pot ready to explode. When the lid is taken off, the pot will explode and all the evil will come out. And there'll be no goodness for a time, no Holy Spirit on the earth to stop the Antichrist. Then they always cut it between 3.5 years, because right in the middle, it says in the middle of the week in Daniel that the abomination of desolation will happen. That sacrilegious event that the Antichrist will say that he is God and do something in the temple and sit in the temple saying he's God. Before this, the fallen entities will all give their power to the beast, and the Antichrist will reign with a policy of assumed peace. Like, it will seem like it's peaceful. The AC will burn the harlot, probably actually the second half of the tribulation, it seems. I just put it here because there was a space for it. Meanwhile, at some point, maybe at the abomination of desolation, I don't know if it's before, probably around this point, the mark of the beast will be enforced. And there will be forced worship of Satan and the beast, and it will be required, or else there will be a beheading. So many Christians will be beheaded. Any Christian saints who wake up after the rapture, they're going to realize, all of this was true, and Jews, and they will be beheaded for their faith. Then, during this time, God's 2 witnesses will be preaching. The Antichrist will kill them. They will resurrect and ascend to heaven. This is the, quote, 2 olive trees that are in the throne room of God. And it says that in Revelation 11, talks about them. And I believe that it's Elijah and Enoch because they never technically died. They were both taken away on a chariot. Jasher says that Enoch was taken on a heavenly chariot, just like Elijah. Moses, it says that he died and that Satan fought for his body. But Moses was involved in the plagues of God, so people think that it might be Moses, and other prophecies might also, kind of allude to that. There's no doubt everybody thinks that Elijah is one of these 2. So meanwhile, during this 7-year tribulation, we've got the 5 or 6 seals. The 6th seal, which is like the stars fall from heaven and the sun and moon turn red and black, will be maybe here or maybe at the end. We don't know yet. So until it happens. So then the 7th seal. The 7th seal it actually happens after the rapture. So after Revelation 7, once again, no coincidence that it's 7, chapter 7. Rapture happens, everybody, all the tongues of nations, the bride is in heaven. And then the 7th seal happens right here. And that is the silence in heaven for half an hour. I haven't studied that. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't remember if I ever learned why there's silence in half an hour. The half an hour could be symbolic for a period of time. Maybe it's waiting before the next trumpets to be sounded. But the trumpets get ready. There's incense and smoke in the throne room. And that's chapter 8 of Revelation. So then we got the 7 trumpets, God allowing fallen angels to be released, including Apollyon, the Antichrist, and the false prophet. So Apollyon, and it says also, like Ken Johnson just said in 2 Thessalonians in the Hebrew translation, the son of Apollyon, which is probably Nimrod. That's what the enemy seems to be preparing Nimrod for that. So it seems like they already know that, and they're planning for it. The false prophet is also probably the angel of death, probably the jackal-headed god. After all the study that we did, if you watch my episode on angels, it's very extensive, but it really talks a lot more about this, and you really should go watch it or study yourself. Anyway, so these are fallen angels that are released, and then, this is all happening, right? We've got God allowing them to come up. You've got fallen angels that were buried. You've got stars falling from heaven, which in Enoch you find out the stars are the angels. You've got burning mountains, which you find out in Enoch that those are angels. Angels that sinned and are burning from, the chains of darkness, being buried in chains of darkness and burning. They fall on the earth, wormwood falls on the earth. They fall on the earth. Apollyon comes up out of the bottomless pit. The false prophet comes out of the bottomless pit. Satan is a dragon coming out of the water. The harlot is coming out from under the ground or from the waters. So not only is it symbolic, it's also physical. They were buried. That was their punishment from the days of Noah. They will now be released as a part of the trumpets. So people think, the Antichrist is just some political human, and we Christians are going to be here, and, and the wrath of God doesn't happen until the second half of the tribulation. False. The wrath of God includes, as I have said before, the fallen angels / the AC is one. He is a part of the wrath of God. He releases the locusts from the bottomless pit, these crazy creatures that you really need to go see my study on angels if you haven't. It's really astounding about it. These have been released before. The angels created them before. So they have been found in, in these archaeological sites. They have found the exact description statues of these exact locusts with the lion mouth, with the human face, with the hair, with the serpent tails, and the body of like a lion, and the hooves that are feet. These things were created by the enemy before. So they are being created actually right now underground and at the four corners of the earth. So yeah, if you don't get what I'm saying, go study it. I did all the study for you. Go at least start with my episode. I worked all year on that. So then you've got these happening. Then you've got the bowls or the vials of the plagues of the wrath of God, similar to the plagues that God released on Egypt during the Exodus, during Moses' time. These plagues match the same and are against the same Egyptian gods. These Egyptian gods are the fallen angels, the same kind of leaders. Then we've got, the Antichrist goes and gets his army to prepare for the Battle of Armageddon, where Christ returns with his bride, with the horses, we're behind him, and we do Joel 2, we do the battle of the Lord, the day of the Lord. The Antichrist is destroyed by the brightness of Christ's coming and the sword of his mouth and the false prophet, and they are both thrown into the lake of fire alive. Now these are that is because they are fallen angels. They were already sentenced to this long ago. The devil is bound for 1K years, for 1,000 years, for millennial reign, to then be deceived for his little season at the end. And the millennium will be after this. I didn't put that in here yet. This is a cutoff right at the Battle of Armageddon, basically. So, there's more here. There's the millennial reign, and then there's eternity, but you've got the judgment day. You've got, so it says down here, more happens, but I'm not going into that right now. Millennial reign, judgment, hell and death get thrown into the lake of fire. The devil does too. There's a new heaven and a new earth, and the new Jerusalem comes down out of heaven, etc. Back here, other points about the 7-year tribulation. Israel wakes up. I can hardly read this. Israel wakes up. The 144,000 Israelites get sealed by God on their foreheads. Dwellers on the earth curse God and refuse to repent. The AC has power to defeat tribulation saints. The false prophet deceives the world with signs and wonders and issues an image of the beast to kill whoever doesn't worship it. The angel of the bottomless pit release the locusts that are let loose. And so it's like God allowing all of that to happen is a part of the wrath. So we've got literal plagues falling from heaven, boils and darkness and seas turned to blood and fire coming from heaven. And then we've got the Antichrist. These plagues are even afflicting the Antichrist too, just like in Egypt when they afflicted Pharaoh. Pharaoh may have had spirits of Antichrist ruling him as well. So there's a match in that. So this is what the 7-year tribulation is. We've been going through it. And once again, go study it more. People say that it's super confusing and it's so controversial, but it's not really that controversial if you read, you actually have to read the whole Bible to basically be like, okay, I get it. And not only read the whole Bible, but read, Jasher and Enoch and Jubilees and the Hebrew translations. And you have to dig deep. I mean, you can find out that the bride goes before the 7 years. You can know that just by reading the Bible. I'm not saying, oh, the Bible isn't enough. It totally is. I'm just saying if you want to be extra sure of all of this, this is pretty set in stone. There's no mistakes. And 7. Yeah, everything's 7. So, if Daniel's 7th week quote isn't enough for you to know that this is 7-year tribulation, Daniel's trouble or Jacob's trouble, I don't know what is, because the bride can't be in the wrath of God. She can't be in here. Tribulation saints get one last chance to follow Christ, and they have to pay a bigger penalty by being beheaded. Then it says that they are resurrected after the battle, and they get to reign with Christ. That's their reward. So it doesn't talk about Christians being able to still be alive at the end here. It says that they all die. So it says that they're resurrected. How could they possibly be raptured, all of us, somehow, and then all of a sudden we're resurrected? No, there aren't any. We're in heaven watching. Or maybe we're not even watching. We might just be celebrating with the palms in our hands and literally at the wedding feast. If you remember the parable about the wedding feast for Israel, Jesus talked about this. He said he invited his original guests to the wedding, and that was Israel. But they all had made an excuse. They wouldn't go to the wedding, and he was angry with them. So he said, fine, extend the invitation to everyone and anyone who will come. And then, he invited everyone to the wedding feast. And he also was talking about make sure to not go about naked, but have a wedding garment. And it says that purifying yourself and the righteousness of Christ and the righteousness of the saints is that garment, that fine linen, white and clean. So that is not going about naked. So you can't go to the wedding feast unless you've got your wedding garment and you made yourself ready. It says the bride made herself ready. So Israel missed out because they made excuses not to go to the wedding. Christ is like, whatever, fine, I'll deal with you down here while I have a wedding feast with my bride. So that's the main point, this juxtaposition here and all of this. And Now we're going to get to, so we've just learned from Ken Johnson from 2 Thessalonians 2 that the Kickstarter of the rapture is the ascent, and then the man of sin the man of Abaddon, Apollyon, can be revealed. And so there we go. So, and then the lie can be told. And once again, the lie has been building for quite some time in all the schools, in all the tech, in all the movies and everything, whether it comes to the science of the earth, whether it comes to, the galaxies far, far away and all the stars are far away. No, the stars are the angels and they're a lot closer than you think. They're in the firmament and they can't break through the firmament. And they say that there's aliens. So, the big lie is, once again, when we're taken, it's an abduction, and the fallen are going to reveal themselves, literally in physical form. They're going to take off their masks and they're going to be like, hey, we're aliens and this is the Christ and everything. So everyone is getting groomed for this. If you already believe in millions of years and billions of years that we were created, we don't really know anything about our calendar. We don't know anything about our history. And we are just a speck of dust in an ultimate infinite universe just spinning on a frozen rock. That is all lies from Satan. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about, please go to Ashley Hayes. She did a 2-part series on the earth and the biblical earth. And you may be like, oh my gosh, don't you dare tell me about flat earth. Just go to her 2 videos that were released this year. This is, she released them I think January of 2026, or maybe the end of 2025, but around January 2026, 2 parts. And you go see the big lie that Satan has been telling for the last however many years, probably 150 years or something. And that is the lie that is told, that everyone's going to finally understand this. Their science, that's their beliefs, everything that they believe, they don't even realize with the whole evolution, with the whole, all the lies. It's all going to make sense to them in their delusion. And the Christians, the fake Christians that are on TV right now, are basically making God and Jesus, making themselves look like they are Christian. So when they don't go up in the rapture, everyone's going to be like, oh, what happened? And then they're going to point you to what they call the Messiah. So anyway, you definitely want to be on Noah's Ark, quote unquote ark. Get caught up and get taken out. Just like Abraham said, Lord, would you surely destroy the righteous with the wicked? Would you judge the righteous with the wicked and treat them the same? No, he would not. So, all right, I say the same thing over and over again. But there you have it. You can screenshot it if you like. I kind of had some fun making it. And I'm sure there are more points to put in there, but that's kind of the basics.